My name is Danielle, and this is Trying Matters. If you're looking for a no BS type podcast, this is it. I'm here to help make life fun and interesting and learn right alongside you how to be brave enough to go against the grain. Here, we'll be talking about real challenges and fears that are holding us women back from living our lives to the fullest. So let's shake things up a bit and actually start trying. What is up? What is up? Welcome back to the Trying Matters podcast. It is episode 20. What is up with that? I cannot believe this podcast has 20 episodes now. I am just going to say that I am patting myself on the back because I'm freaking proud of myself for actually sticking it out for 20 episodes. Y'all, the whole premise behind this is to go after the things that you are wondering if you'll be good at, or just new hobbies, or just anything that you want to try. Just give it a shot. And I had no idea what this would lead to. I had no idea if I would stick it out. I hoped I would, and I hope to continue sticking it out because I do enjoy doing this. So if you've been around for all 20 episodes, hell yeah, thank you. And without further ado, let's get into episode 20. So, something that has been on my mind a lot the past 2 weeks, because again, y'all know if you've listened to the podcast before, I always talk about something that is relevant to what's going on in my life or somebody that I know, their life. So, recently, it's been a rough 2 weeks, okay? We're going to talk about it because y'all know I don't keep anything secret. I tell all because we need to be real and we need to find community within each other and realize that we're not, crazy or going through this shit on our own. Um the past 2 weeks, there has been a message that has been echoing throughout just my conversations, um podcast episodes, daily devotionals, homilies at mass. Um, this theme has just been echoed so many times in the past 2 weeks. And what is wild to me about it is it's happening at a time where I need to hear it most. So let me elaborate on this. So, the topic that's been kind of recurring in these past 2 weeks for me is it isn't easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy. And just because it's a little bit difficult doesn't mean it's worth quitting. So, I've briefly touched on this throughout many episodes, but it is especially relevant right now. The first time this got brought up and was like, um, I was having a conversation with my mom about just adjusting to different aspects of married life. And she was like, when you said those vows, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. You were having two people come together and become one. Two different sets of opinions, two different sets of life experiences, two different people with goals and, dreams for themselves, and even just dreams for an afternoon when you get home from work. And coordinating those two people and those sets of desires, opinions, so on and so forth, it's not easy. And I was like, well, duh, I knew that. But when you're in the moment, realizing, you're like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be entirely like this. Because we all do this like fantasizing thing. We're like, oh, yeah, they say it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be difficult, but maybe it'll be easy. And there'll be times that are easy and there'll be times that are hard, and, in sickness and in health and good and bad, whatever. And then you get to the point and you're like, oh, I didn't expect this to be this hard. I thought I'd get through this specific thing a whole lot easier. Then this topic is brought up again. I was in mass, and the priest was having a homily about being a prophet, because in the Catholic Church, if you don't know, when you're baptized priest, prophet, and king. If If you don't know about that and you want to dig a little bit, go look at the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Cool stuff. Um, but he was talking about being a prophet and how being a prophet is not easy. Talking about your faith and sharing your faith with people is not easy. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. It may be simple, but simple and easy are not synonymous when we really think about it. And he was like, just a little side note here. And he specifically brought up marriage. And he was like, you know, I don't know where married couples get this idea that it's going to be easy. Who who said that? Nobody said that. Nowhere in the Bible does it say it's going to be easy. Nowhere in any previous marriages that have been successful have they said it has been easy. Why do married couples think it's going to be easy? And he said the same thing that my mom said to me. I was like, okay, that's two times. Then I was listening to another podcast. I've mentioned this podcast before. If you haven't gone to check it out, I am a big advocate for the Enneagram. There's a podcast called Enneagram and Coffee, and I was just scrolling through her episodes. She has so many episodes. Um, and one of her episodes was they say if it's right, it's easy, or it was something along the lines of that. Like if it's right, it's going to be easy, and the pathway to it is not going to be difficult, and go off of your feeling. And she just talked about how, you know, a lot of times in relationship aspects, people talk about that, like, oh, if it's easy, it's right. And what I've learned just from dating, not even marriage, before we even get to marriage, it's not easy to be in a relationship with anyone. At first, it may seem that way because you're getting to know the person, you're finding things in common, you're finding likes about them, and it can seem easy because you're eager and you're in a specific season of that relationship or phase of that relationship where you're developing it and it's fun and it's exciting, even if it's just a friendship, not even a romantic relationship. Um, and it may seem easy at first, but then when you get into the layers and the complexity of people and their experiences and what their trauma is or what their childhood was like, and you factor all these things in that make people who they are, and it's not easy. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth it. And that was what her whole episode was about, was, you know, just because it gets difficult doesn't mean that we need to say that it's not for me. Um, and I've seen this throughout many aspects of my life. And all of these things, the conversation with my mom, the homily, listening to that podcast episode, and I even had a daily devotional that I listen to every morning, and it's specifically geared to women. I've mentioned the Hollow app before. It is an app that has a whole bunch of different daily devotionals and prayers and novenas and all kind of things. If you're looking, if you're looking, I can't say it. If you're looking to dive deeper into your prayer life, it's a really great app for that. The Hollow app. I'll link that in the show notes so that you guys can reference back to it if you want to. But again, they were talking about in this devotional that's geared towards women. Um, you know, it's not easy to be the best sister or the best wife or the best daughter or whatever it may be. And we can't do it on our own. Now, of course, in this daily devotional, we were talking about leaning into God and your relationship with God and how his strength is what's going to get you through whatever it is that you're doing, because we're merely human. We can't do it all. Um, but these are multiple times that I've heard this echoed throughout my past 2 weeks. And my past 2 weeks have been kind of a struggle. Okay. Like having a husband that travels, it gets to be difficult because somebody like me that's super social, again, I've talked about this so many times. If I'm left by myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm alone. What do I do? And then it causes just like a spiral in my head. And then I'm like, this is not what I thought my life was going to be. I thought it was going to be easy. And it's difficult transitioning from, okay, he's my boyfriend, he's my fiance, he's my husband. And now it's like, we're really intertwined so much. And then our careers, like I can't ever ask him to stop doing what he's doing with his career, nor can he do that with me. So these levels of complexity just start to pile on. And then, you know, we just got a puppy. If y'all didn't hear me talk about that in one of my episodes previously, um, we got a puppy. And let me just tell you, you want to talk about a hard situation? Potty training a puppy, y'all. I I I can't. I can't figure it out. And I like, as a lot of us do, that immediate gratification. Like, how can I streamline this? How can I make this faster? How can I, you know, hone in on the best way to do this? That way we can get it done. And then we can, sit on the couch and relax when we get home rather than, following her around wherever she goes to make sure she's not pooping on the floor. Um, it's hard. And then it like puts a whole nother like complicated factor on mine and my husband's relationship, my relationship with my social time and my feeling of freedom. I have to take care of a living thing now. And it's a whole different perspective. Now, both of these examples, I may have thought that certain aspects of this would be easy. And don't get me wrong, there's certain things that are easy, like cuddling with my puppy, man, that's easy. Except for when she's in play mode and she wants to bite my face, which y'all, I can't. I'll be in the middle of a workout and she's just on my nose. Hair, forget it. She thinks it's a rope. I don't know. But that aspect is easy. Feeding her, easy. Taking her for a walk, bit of a challenge, but some days it's easy. But just because there's days where it's not easy doesn't mean that I need to quit on it or say, nope, having a dog, not for me. Not for me. Being married and the challenges that it's having, nope, not for me. No, I made a commitment and I knew that this was going to be something that was difficult. I knew that I was going to have to make choices and adjustments in my life, as did he. And like that priest said, and like my mom, who's been married for however many years at this point, have said, like, nobody said it was going to be easy. But does that mean that it's not for you because it's not easy? I don't think so. Anything worth having is worth working hard for. If you truly have that passion for it and that desire for it and that drive to work towards whatever it is. So, like one of my friends right now, she was actually on the podcast last week. She's getting her master's degree. She knew that wasn't going to be easy. Going into it, her first class was a little bit easy. Now she's on her second one and she's like, holy moly, pump the brakes. Can I do this? And she's starting to have doubts and she's starting to think like, was this the right choice for me or was this not for me? And I was like, haha, here we are in the same boat, different scenarios, but we have to remind ourselves that just because it's not easy doesn't mean it's not worth working for. She wants that degree. She wants to further advance her career. This is the way she's got to do it. And her driving force needs to be, this is what I want. This is the steps that I have to go through to obtain that. And it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. Um, Another one, like my husband's going through this too. Like right now, they're trying to grow their social media for his business. And that's not easy, but he had to take the step to hire somebody. And then, he's manipulating a whole bunch of different things within his work life. And is it easy? No, but he wants to grow that business. He's passionate about it. And he knows that that's a key factor in expanding and so on and so forth. Um, and all of this to say, this is kind of leading me into another aspect of my life right now that, again, this is echoing like, okay, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And my ladies, listen. This one is, I'm going to get a little personal here. Y'all are going to know a little bit about me. The whole world is about to know this. But you know what? I don't like this kind of stuff being in the dark. I want to talk about it because I feel like it's not talked about enough. And maybe that's just within my circle. I don't know. But preparing my mind for the reminder of just because it's not easy doesn't mean it's not worth it. Doesn't mean that it's not for me. I don't need to quit on it. There's been something that I've been contemplating for a while probably since before I even got married. Because again, y'all, podcasts are so great. And obviously, if you're here, you're for podcasting. Like, you love it, you enjoy some aspect of it. It's a way to educate people, it's a way to build a community, whatever it may be, your reason for being here. Like, one, again, thank you. Thank you. 20 episodes. Here we are. But a podcast that I listened to that got me into this whole thing, Empower Her. If you've never listened to that one, I've also mentioned that one. Again, I will link that in the show notes. Um, she had a guest on where they talked about birth control. And this is in my opinion, a very like taboo, but like hot topic at the same time. Um, at least from the experience that I've had. She had somebody come on and talk about like hormone balance and, getting off of hormonal birth control and this, that, and the other. And I've been thinking about this for a while, but the thing that stopped me was the thought of that's going to be really hard. That's going to be really hard to transition my lifestyle from taking a pill, not having to worry about what's going on with my body or keeping track of it or any kind of side effects or symptoms or anything like that, not having to worry about potential pregnancy, whatever. Um, it's going to be a hard transition from that to learning what my body does naturally. So I was like, I want to do that, but do I really want to do that? I don't know. And I had thought about it for a while. And finally, my goal was when I get married, that's the official time. Partially that was because I wanted to start doing, and again, I'm getting real personal with y'all, but I hope this is helpful to somebody. Um, I wanted to start natural family planning. If you're not familiar with that, it is tracking your cycle and learning your body and its cycle and flow to determine like when you're fertile, when you're not fertile. Are you balanced in your hormones? What are you missing? Like listening to your body and understanding it fully. And another level of health that I was intrigued by when I started learning about it. And I was like, interesting. So NFP, natural family planning, um, that is something that I've been interested in because I've known about it for a while. But then that podcast episode that I listened to, I'm like, you know what? Like, I've always seen this from a lens of like faith life because that's when it was introduced to me. And I was like, okay, so like I kind of want to do it for that, but then like I need something else. I know that sounds kind of shitty, but I'm be totally real with y'all. Like that was part of the reason why I wanted to do it. But being the healthiest version of myself, I didn't feel like being on a synthetic hormone was being the healthiest version of myself. And this is not a knock at anybody who is on birth control. I have friends who are on it because their hormones were way out of whack and that was a way to get it back in check. I have friends that are on it because they have endometriosis or PCOS, and it can be used for a bunch of things. But let's be real, the first time I got on it, it wasn't for any of those things. It was to prevent pregnancy. That's what it was for. And now I am married. I'm in a situation where, like, if I were to get pregnant, no biggie. I'd be okay with that. My husband would be okay with that. But scary thing to do is to say, throw the pills away. And while it's scary, and while I know it's hard, and I know it's going to be a lifestyle adjustment, and I know it's not going to be easy, it is something that I want to do because I want to be the healthiest version of myself. And the preparation that I've done with like a little bit of research here and there about the benefits of it, some of the side effects of it, like y'all, I did from March to September, however many months that is, because I don't even remember at this point. Before I got married, I was on Accutane and getting off of birth control, I might get acne again. And that really sounds like a hard thing to deal with after doing rigorous treatment for acne. If you have done Accutane, you get what I'm talking about. Like, I'm an eczema kid, so I had eczema all over my hands with like water fluid filled like bumps type of eczema. Like super dry, very possible for me to get a bad reaction to the sun, couldn't get my eyebrows waxed or anything. Like Accutane was rough, but the thought of like potentially getting acne again, I'm like, oh, but then I have to remind myself, like, okay, that's not going to be easy to deal with. But what is my major goal here? My major goal is to learn my body. Because something that I have learned through learning about NFP, I took a class, which, by the way, if you are interested in taking a class on it, learning about it, I have some resources that I can also link in the show notes. And if you are in the New Orleans area, the Archdiocese of New Orleans offers a class. And I took a majority of the classes, but I took it at the wrong time because it was like right before my wedding. So I didn't take the last one. But I have resources. So, anyway, I'm excited to learn my body. And the thing that blew my mind when I was taking that class and even listening to that podcast episode that I mentioned, where she was talking about like non hormonal birth control and like learning your body and your cycle and all that, is like us women, we don't understand our bodies, like barely understand them. Because honestly, like you learn it when you're in high school, but the likelihood of you like diving deep enough to fully understand it by the time you really need to understand your body as like a woman, I feel like I forgot how my body works, or I never truly understood it. So that's part of the reason why I'm like, I don't understand. Like I mean, I understand how my body works, but like I want to know like the signs of, ooh, I'm fertile, or ooh, my period's about to start, or ooh, this is something that I can take to help with my cramps that's not like ibuprofen. These are potential supplements that can help with acne buildup or anxiety or whatever it may be. And like learning the signs of my body in order to be the best version of myself. Because at the end of the day, that is what I want to do. I want to be the healthiest and the most insightful and the best version of me that I can be as often as I can be it. And this is just a next step in doing that. So if you were thinking about like getting off of hormonal birth control, trying to do something natural and like learning your body, do it with me. I always heard people say like, come work out with me, or like, come do this really cool thing like jumping out of a plane with me. Like, no, let's learn about our bodies together. What? As women, I feel like it's important, you know? And another thing that just was mind blowing to me too is like a lot of people, when you say, like, oh, I'm getting off of birth control, they're like, oh, you're going to get pregnant, or don't do that. That's a bad idea. And my favorite, my doctor, my gynecologist saying, that doesn't work. You're going to get pregnant. Okay, first off, one, what's the bad thing about getting pregnant? There's a lot of people who can't. So let's stop talking about it like that. And know your patient also. Just going to throw that out there. I know doctors have a lot to do and a lot of people to see. And honestly, they are overworked and they have to herd their patients in like cattle because productivity and all that BS. But know your patient and know what your patient's goals are. Medical professionals. That's all I got to say. Um, and like be supportive of women when they're making decisions, and be supportive of everybody, even if you don't understand it. Be a listening ear, and don't talk them down and say like, oh, that's a terrible idea. Unless they're about to do something terrible, like life threatening, then, maybe talk them out of that. But like when it comes to something like them learning about their bodies or how they want to deal with their reproductive system or something like that, maybe let's hear them out. Maybe let's support them rather than saying like, that doesn't work, or that's a bad idea because you're going to get pregnant. Just rude, uncalled for. Anyway, that's my little soapbox on that. But moral of all of this is I'm excited to learn about my body, and I'm excited to incorporate yet again this recurring concept of just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not for you. Just because it is not easy does not mean that you have to quit at it or it's not something that should be a part of your life. So, that is what I have for you guys today. Those were two kind of topics that were super relevant to me that I feel like could be helpful to any women listening. If you have questions about anything that I'm doing or you want any more details on resources that I have, reach out to me. Check me out on social media. Contact me through a message or phone call if you have my number. And yeah, that's what I got. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are listening, on your walk, doing your dishes, doing your laundry, chasing after your crazy dog, like me. But thank you. 20 episodes. What? Till next time on episode 21. I'll see y'all then. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you got a little inspiration to start taking steps towards whatever it is you've been wanting to try. If you love this episode, share it on socials and tag me. I'd love to hear how it helped you. And of course, we gotta get the word out to the other women who are needing that little extra push like you and I do. Can't wait to talk to you soon.